What's going on, guys? Noah Sanford here. We're hanging out in Boulder City Bass Taco right now. Gonna give you guys the fishing report for the upcoming weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Before we jump into the report like usual, guys, I wanna remind you, we are less than 70 subscribers away from hitting 1,000 subscribers on the channel, guys. Now is your last chance to hit that subscribe button before we hit 1,000 and we give one of you lucky subscribers a free fishing charter giveaway with me on Lake Mead. So make sure if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now for a free chance to enter in the giveaway, and you might get lucky and win a free fishing charter with me. So enough of that, let's jump into the fishing report. Going into the weekend, Friday looks pretty good right now. There's not supposed to be hardly any wind tomorrow, which is Friday. Saturday, you should be all right to go out in the morning, but I wouldn't probably recommend going out in the afternoon. It looks pretty dang windy in the afternoon. So if you get out there early and you're done by 10 or 11 o'clock, you should be all right. And honestly, guys, Sunday looks pretty rough. I don't know if I would go out on Sunday unless it's absolutely your only option. If you do go out, be safe because it's going to be pretty dang windy on Sunday. So keep that in mind for the upcoming weekend. Let's go ahead and move into the water temperatures, guys. So we are starting to finally see a little bit of a drop from those high 50s. Reason for that is because the nights are starting to get colder, right? The daytime temperatures are pretty similar, but our nights are going from mid 40s down to low 40s and mid 30s, I've even seen. So be careful when you're going out this weekend and make sure you know that the water temp is going to be lower than it's been. Right now I'm seeing a drop by about a degree or two. So I was seeing consistently 58 to 58 and a half last week. When I was out the other day though, I saw like 56 and a half, 57. I haven't been out in 2 days though because of this horrendous wind we've been having. So it's probably going to be even cooler than that. When that wind blows and it's cold air, guys, it churns that water up and it makes it real cold. So you're probably honestly going to be looking at mid 50s, maybe 56 when you get out there this weekend. So might make the fishing a little more tough than it's been the last few weeks. Since the last few weeks have been so flat and calm and sunny, now that wind's starting to kick up, those nights are getting colder, these fish might be a little more reluctant to bite. That's going to bring me into my next point though. And that's going to be what to throw. So I had a guy ask me the other day, hey, what have I been throwing? How have I been catching these fish on Lake Mead recently? I've actually had several people ask me that in the last couple of days. My answer is try everything, guys. Literally try everything. What I've kind of noticed here in the winter time, and this is kind of goes across the country too, but especially here on these desert lakes, like Lake Mead, Lake Mojave, even parts of Lake Havasu, that in the winter time, these fish are predators of opportunity. And what I mean by that is whether the water's warm in the summertime, whether it's mid kind of degrees in the spring or the fall, whether it's cold in the winter time, guys, these fish are opportunistic predators. What that means is if they are hungry enough and they see something going by their face that looks like something to eat, they're probably going to eat it. And so my biggest thing in this wintertime is to not get hung up. Oh, I have to throw a drop shot and do nothing but shake that worm all day because the water's cold. No, try everything, guys. Sure, a drop shot will probably work. Try a jig, try an A-rig, try a jerkbait, try a crankbait, try a swim bait. Basically try any lure that exists in bass fishing. That's really my main tip for you guys this time of year, especially this week. And I noticed that pattern the other day too. I've got a video that's doing pretty well right now, getting a lot of views from you guys. It was that 13-pound bag in January video from the other day. If you guys haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out. But you'll see half the time I'm using a spinning rod, half the time I'm using a bait caster. I'm throwing a bunch of different baits. I'm throwing a drop shot, I'm throwing a Ned rig, I'm throwing bigger, jigs and stuff on the bottom. I'm throwing swim baits. I catch a fish on like 4 or 5 different lures. Almost every single fish I catch in that video, they're all on a different lure. So that's a pretty interesting thing to know. The reason why I tell people to mess around with things in the wintertime is because these fish can be weird in the wintertime. What I mean by that is one day you'll go out there and kill them on a drop shot and the next day they won't even bite it. One day you'll kill them on a swim bait, the next day they don't give it any attention. One day you're catching them on a jig, the next day you don't even get a sniff. And so what that does is as anglers we get caught up in, oh, I have to throw this because it's what I got bit on last time. Just because you got bit on something the other day doesn't mean it's going to work the next time you go out. So really, guys, if you have access to different kinds of lures and styles and techniques that you can throw, I would say just try it all, guys. Take 20, 30 minutes, try a bunch of different techniques and see which one works best. Because what I've found is during the day in these wintertime months, you really have to play around with it. And that's really what I do on guide trips too. Obviously, everyone has those couple staple lures, those confidence baits that you know you're going to catch fish on throughout the year. But when I have a guide trip and I have 2 or 3 people on the boat, I usually have them all throwing different things. I'll have one guy throwing a jerkbait, I'll have one guy throwing a drop shot, one guy throwing a jig. That way we cover all of our assets, and what that does is make it to where we can tell if one person's getting more bites or attention than the other, and then you can kind of pattern your day as you go. It's gonna bring me into my last point, where to fish, guys. I'm gonna say the same exact thing. Try it all. Last couple weeks, you'll notice I've been focusing for the most part on the steeper, rockier stuff, and that pattern is starting to fade. The reason for that is because these fish, as that water gets colder, are not necessarily just gonna stick to that steeper, rockier stuff. I've noticed they're out chasing bait sometimes they're out in those flat, sandy coves, sometimes they are still on that rocky stuff. You really just have to try it all though, guys. So if I was going out and I had a day this weekend, I would take a couple rods, 4 or 5 different baits, reaction baits, finesse baits, power fishing baits, and I would try a bunch of spots. I wouldn't spend more than an hour or two in an area unless you're getting consistent hookups. Try steep stuff, try flat stuff, try coves, try offshore points. Try it all, guys. That's really the best tip I can give you this time of year for Lake Mead specifically. So that's pretty much gonna wrap up the video, guys. Like I said, make sure to hit that subscribe button for the free chance to enter in this guided trip. Appreciate all you guys watching and all the support we've been getting recently. My name's Noah Sanford. We'll see you guys out on the water.